Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Hape and I'm the Crafty Chemist. This video is going to be about the pages that I've completed up to my Thanksgiving break here in the United States. I don't think I'll finish anything else new, and I'm ready to shift over from fall pages to wintry pages. So I'll talk about what pages I'm planning for the rest of the year in another video. This one, like I said, it's going to be stuff that I have finished since the last video, which was at the beginning of the month. So this stack is all New Book November 24 hashtag stuff. I have been trying to make sure that I am coloring in all of the new books that I have bought. I do still have a few more to go, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on this stack. And there's multiple pages that I colored in some of them. So I'm going to start with New Book November with A Million Baby Animals by Lulu Mayo. And I think this is such a cute book. So in addition to it being New Book November, I also did Coloring Bumblebees Lulu Mayo scavenger hunt thing. And so the pages in here will also have something to do with that scavenger hunt. For November, it was Moon, Hedgehog, Teacup, and Squirrel. And this page here has a little hedgehog right here being held by the cute little hamsters in the big flowers. And this was colored entirely with Prismacolor. I kind of rediscovered my Prismacolor this month. I hadn't used them forever. My next page is this one here. I saw this one on her video and I thought that the opossum were so cute. We do have them come to the back of our houses for food from the kitty dishes. So this one has a teacup on it, and I did color it with Prismacolor and Brut Funer Macaron, and the background I did with a stencil and some distress ink. And then this is pastel, chalk pastels with a little bit of a stencil and distress ink over the top. And sadly, the distress ink came through the paper, so I won't be using distress ink in here again. And I'll need to make sure when I color this really cute one, which seems quite wintry because of the long sleeve and the hood and the scarf here. So this one will probably be on my to-do soon list, and I'll cover up, do something in the background to cover that up. Plus, I think the puppies on this second page are also very cute. So that was another one there. Oh, and I also did use metallic pencils. I think you can see the shine from it there. I wanted the party balls to have a little bit of fun there with it, and I needed a background because it was kind of plain. So I can use that stencil again over here, but obviously not the same color, or I can make this page entirely separate. I haven't decided what I want to do with that yet. The next page, so I did 3 in this book, and that made me really happy to have a new book that I did 3 pictures in, is the little chipmunk here. One thing that was mentioned by Coloring Bumblebee was that there weren't very many squirrels, and she had picked squirrels, so she said chipmunks were okay. And so I did this chipmunk page, and it also does have hedgehogs, and it has a moon, so it hits 3 out of the 4, not teacup, but with 3 pages I was able to hit all 4 of the prompts. And this one was also, no, this one was not colored with Prismacolor. This one was colored with the Faber-Castell, but a polychromos. But I did this one mostly while my son was at state. So that's the first book. I do have like 17 or 18 finished projects or finished coloring pages this month, which is a lot for it only being the 26th, and I don't think I colored anything last night. I don't know. I was really tired last night. So next up for a new book on the New Book November pile is Forest Girls Coloring Book by Epple. And this one I got new in September or October. I don't remember when I got those, probably October. And I colored this page here where they are sharing equally. I wanted to do this because I felt like that would be cute for like a Thanksgiving time, and they all have the exact same food on their plate. This is very muted, and you can see from the reference image that the color palette is very muted. I use this more as inspiration than as trying to duplicate it here, because I wanted blue walls, and our kitchen has blue walls, and I just feel like kitchens should have blue walls for some reason. So that's why I made this blue walls. I've used a lot of Derwent Drawing on here, and Polychromos, and the Graphitint. So actually these plants were done with Graphitint. Some of the shading was done with Graphitint, and I tried to make a copper pot here, like a copper frying pan or something, and I figured that was a wok. So just fun little things on here. I did have a little bit of trouble getting her face right, but I think it came out okay. And I think this is an adorable page, and I have decided to follow Apple on the Instagram, and I'm loving getting all the inspiration. I do have a few others that I'd like to do in this book. I've got little eraser dust in here. In December, and this one's not really a very wintry book, but there's like a couple of pages that are more like cozy and wintry, so I will be keeping this around so that I can work on it some more. Next, for my new book, November, I have had this book for quite a while, Lovable Cats and Dogs by Ruth Soffer, and I just never colored anything in it. So this one actually is, I think, maybe the only one. Oh no, there's a couple other pumpkins, but this also goes for how many pumpkins. I need to count out my pumpkins. I used Polychromos and Inktense on it, and finally colored a page in this book. I do like coloring animals and plants more than anything else, really. So this came out a little bit brighter than I wanted, but I don't know, it ends up being fun, and the kitty playing in the leaves seemed like a fun one to do. I did discover after I had done it that there was a reference image at the front from that page, and there's a few things that I do like about it. Like I like their chair, but I like my hedge and sky. Well, they didn't even have sky. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be though, that block of green back there, but there's a lot of other cute cats and dogs, and so yeah, I made that sky. I couldn't even imagine it being other hedge, but their hedge was kind of neat too. But yep, so finally finished one in here, and maybe I'll keep it around, and that's one pumpkin. So maybe I need to go through and see what I've colored in the past couple of months and see how many pumpkins I actually did. Next on the new book November pile, I have Midnight Forest Coloring Book by Coco Wayo. This is again one that I've had for a long time, and I had never colored in it, so I made it a goal to do this page here and make the canopy very fall colored. This is entirely done with watercolors that I have in my Prisma Artist Quality, whatever, the art philosophy stuff, and I do put other colors in here. So these are all handmade earth colors, and these two are Daniel Smith, and this is another small, oh no, that's Archer and Olive, sorry. I have in the other set, I have in the Vintage Pastels, I have one from a small Etsy shop. So I used only the watercolors that were in these pans, and I fill in the space because they give you 12, but obviously you can fit a lot more than 12 in here. And so I just used the watercolors in these pans for this picture. That was one of my personal challenges for the month, is to use my coloring supplies entirely those just one set of supplies on a whole page just to make sure I'm using all my supplies. And if I'm not going to use it or I don't like it, then I want to get rid of it. And I did actually get rid of something this month, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But so this is entirely watercolor. The paper I feel like was really, really good for watercolor. I think that it'd be fun in the future to go ahead and give a base of watercolor for all of the images in here, and then do a little bit of colored pencil over the top for some shading and stuff. But because I wanted to keep this purely that Art Philosophy Prima watercolor, the confection or whatever it is, that's what I did. So I like how it came out. I think it's really pretty, and I finally got a page then done in Midnight Forest by Coco Wyo. Another new one I have, this one's, I got this one on a trip with my son for a college visit, and it is the Coloring Heaven Dragon Special. And I colored the Baking Day Dragon, which is an image by Elizabeth R. Best. So this is another New Book November. And I just thought this was adorable with this dragon. This is mostly Inktense with a little bit of Castle Art pencils over the top. It's just what I had downstairs with me at the time. But I think that this is the cutest dragon, and I decided to go with a nice bright blue color for the dragon. And it says this was done in October, but it was not done in October. It was done in November. And I like how the coffee came out up there. So Dragon Special, it's got art by R.J. Hampson, Panna Samba, Elizabeth R. Best, and Herb Leonhard. A lot of really cool dragon pictures in there. Next, I have this one, and I have to look at the name every time. I should put a note in there. This is Cat Song, 4 Seasons Gallery Book 2, a day where 6 cats do whatever they want. And so I guess there's 6 cats in here. They're not really very easily distinguished, but it has some of the cutest pages in here of, yeah, the cats just kind of doing whatever they want and having a lot of fun. And I chose to do the one where the kitty is drinking beer. So this is a New Book November page, and I used Quick Sticks Tempera paint for all of this grassy area and for the Black Lake and for all of the light reflections here. And I used Prismacolors and Polychromos and chalk pastels back up here to get the light the way I wanted it. And then I colored over the top of it, and I used Jelly Roll, and I used Thule art, and I really like how this whole page came out. Every time I flip to it, I'm like, oh, that is so fun. This is so fun and so cool. I think it's really good. And the beer can is nice and bright there, and this kitty is just enjoying the night scene. Had to get away from it all and have a beer, settle down for the evening. The tempera paint sticks worked really well, and I like the texture I was able to achieve in the grass. They are a little shiny, but it's not the only shiny things that ever show up on my coloring pages. So I'm so excited with how well this came out. And I finished this one on November 11th. And again, there's other pages in here that I want to color, so this book is going to stay close by because so cute. Next, I have nature mandalas that I bought while my son was at a swim meet. Well, actually while we were waiting for dinner after state, and I got it in the $9 book annex at Barnes & Noble, and I actually sat down and colored one in here right away with the watercolors again. And actually this is just entirely watercolors. I had them sitting out, and I did more than just the ones that I had in the container, I think. I can't remember, honestly. I just had fun with it. So I made a very light wash in the background after I had done everything else. I did think I used a few colored pencils just to like make sure some of the areas that I wanted a little darker, like inside of the pine cones here, were actually as dark as I wanted them, because a couple of the spots were not quite as dark. But mostly this is watercolor with, like I said, just a little bit of colored pencil over the top. The paper is all one-sided, so it doesn't matter if it goes through. But there's already so much texture drawn onto these pictures. I'm not even going to try to say her name. I am really, really terrible with pronunciation of any like thing that's not a regular old what I grew up with English word. Even some English words, chemistry words, pronunciation is not my strong suit. So yeah, I had fun with this, and there are some in here that are perfect for winter, so I'm going to probably keep this one out and do some more in it, and maybe pull out the Circle of Life, because it's, with all that texture on the image, it makes it really quick to color. And the last one that was New Book November 24 is Story of Precious Cats, and I finished the Trick or Treat page that I started in October. And so this one does have a pumpkin on it. So it's a How Many Pumpkins 2024. And this one I used so many different things on it that I really just don't remember. Excuse me. Morning voice here. And it wasn't until after I got started on this that I realized that there was the character things up in the front. I don't know that I'm going to go strictly by what colors these guys would end up being. I just, maybe they're just trick-or-treaters. I don't know, but I really had fun with this. I couldn't wait to color this one. It was the first one I wanted to finish in here. And then I did do a second one in here. And this one goes for November Mad Tea Party 2024. And it is obviously the Queen of Hearts. The cats are playing dress up for Alice in Wonderland. And this one actually is a 2-page tea party spread. And I actually watched all of the Alice in Wonderland movies I could find, and started watching a series of Alice in Wonderland just to get in the mood. And there are a couple other Alice in Wonderland pictures earlier on in the book. Oh, here we go. We have the Mad Hatter and a rabbit. I don't know. I don't think it is the rabbit because he's wearing like a jester outfit or something, but I don't know. This, obviously the kitties like to play dress up. They're so cute. I can see myself finishing this book because all the pages in it are just fantastic. So I love it. And I like how this came out. I was a little bit worried. It did also use metallic colored pencils on there again in this part here to try to give it a little bit of a shine, but I didn't want a glitter shine. So I think that worked out okay. And I used Inktense for most of the background of it, and then colored pencils over the top of that. So the paper held up to that really well. I think there was only one spot where I noticed, right here on this wall, which it's a brick wall anyway, so I don't know, some of the red on her dress I think came through. But I love this book, and I had fun with that page. So that one was a November Mad Tea Party 2024 and a New Book November 24. And I did 2 pages out of there. While I'm at the November Mad Tea Party 2024, I will pull out the other November Mad Tea Party 2024 page that I did. And I ran out of my solid color markers here. Where is it? Nope. Oh, here it is. I have a solid color marker there. There we go. So this one at first glance, I didn't realize it was a Alice in Wonderland page, but it is. We have the mushrooms and the butterfly and the roses and the tea pot and the tea creamer, and I think this is probably the sugar bowl, and Alice in the dress, and the chess pieces, and I think this would be the Mad Hatter. Maybe it's before he got mad, I don't know. And I think there was something about a horse in one of them. So this one is for November Mad Tea Party 2024. And it was in Kingdom of Curious Creatures by Kanoko Igusa, and I was really happy to finish another one of the pages in this book. Largely, this is Prismacolor, and then this is, again, the metallic colored pencils. Actually, I used a Prismacolor. This is Prismacolor here, the gold, and I pulled it out of one of my old sets, so a set I got in the 90s, because I don't even know what I did with the one that came with my 150 full set of colored pencils. So I pulled it out of that. And I do think that there's a little bit of the Brute Printer Macaron for the teapots. I think I may have done that. But mostly it is Prismacolor. And I love how this came out. It's so bright and so cheerful and so full of crazy colors, like the Alice in Wonderland stories that I had a chance to watch. I do have a couple others picked out in this one as well for December. And those are the only two of the Mad Tea Party that I colored, but I wouldn't mind coloring some more because I think they're really pretty and a lot of fun. So here I have Flora coloring book by Maria Trolley, and this one goes with Meg's ABC Color Challenge 2024. The letter was T, so Maria Trolley is the artist. And then I also used the AC color palette from Amanda Colors, the color combo she had there, and I'll put that up so you can see how well I did. And I picked out the colors from Prismacolors that I had because I did not have all of the polychromos. And I also made the whole background to start with, I'm pretty sure I used Inktense on it. And then I colored pencil over the top, and the only thing I really avoided was coloring these little poof balls. And then I went over it with white Jelly Roll pen and Tule art over the black lines on the poof balls. And then I also used the Ohuhu glitter markers for the hair and these little ghosty, spritey things there. And this was really, really fun. And I just really enjoyed it. I love my background, like sunset kind of thing. She's going to sleep, so it's got to be going to nighttime. And I was just like, make things whatever color I want. This is a fantasy world. So I did. Pink plants, pink berries, purple plants, a blue hill, and my pink-haired little fairy girl and her bright yellow dress. I like it. So that one was two different things, the Meg's Coloring Challenge and Amanda Colors Coloring Combo. So I did color a second Maria Trolley picture. It is in Nightfall. Nightfall is the first coloring book that I got when I started coloring while I had COVID in 2021. So actually there's another hashtag called Maria Trolley All Year by @Ratna_C_Ratna. And so this follows for both of those challenges, and it also is for my own personal challenge to color something using only Derwent Drawing. So that's the only thing I've used to color this page is Derwent Drawing. I like the cute little mice with their little hearts on their feet, and the ivy. I spent a lot of time doing a lot of shading and just really enjoying this whole process of coloring this page. And so that's another one in here. This one at one time was one that I had the most pages colored in, but I think that's been taken over by Hannah Carlson now. Next, I have another challenge that I finished, and it is in this Tokyo Street Style. So this actually goes with Meg's ABC Color Challenge 2024 as well. And I did Neon November 2024 by Amanda Colors, and this is entirely neon with the exception of some Boko Undo ink colors here. So that's black watercolor there. But everything else, oh, and there's a little bit of the same black watercolor here, is I just pulled out everything I had that was neon and I threw it at this page. And it came out really fun, and I wasn't trying to be neat. I used crayons, I used tempera paints, I used highlighters, I used trying to remember, jelly rolls. I used whatever I can find that I had that was neon to do this. And so you can see some of the crayons were glittery. So there's glitter here and glitter here. These were non-glittery crayons over that. And then there was, colored pencils. I did have some colored pencils. So there's like tempera paint with colored pencils over the top of it down here on the road. And while this is totally crazy, I feel like this was one of the most artistic things I've ever done. And I really just had a blast doing it. And I don't know if I'll want to carry over the neon colors over to here, or if I'll just make them regular colored things, or maybe do a background in neon so that these two pages match. But I've colored now 3 pages in Tokyo Street Style, and it is just a really fun coloring book. I like the size of it, and pages don't take all that long. Next, I have a weird page in Animals Collection Volume 3, Circle Mosaics coloring book, and I started this one sometime in the summer. And so this is the Forgotten Whips by @Passionista Colorist on Instagram, and everything in here is circles, and I did this one with gouache. So every dot, where is my little tool? I had it here so that I could share. I made with this little tool. I dip it into the paint and then just dab it onto the spot. I kept, forgetting spots, especially when there'd be like one little purple here, or actually I forgot a whole row of yellow at one point. But it has, color test page here. I've done one other in here, and it's actually what prompted me to buy gouache, because I thought it would be easier to do with gouache if I had more colors, because I have a little bit of gouache on here, and then the rest of it is like pens and stuff. The pictures are not very obvious, and this is only the second one that I've done. It gives the paper a cool feel because of all the heaviness of the paint, but it's not a solid heaviness, so it's got this weird flexibility to it that I kind of like. And I think it's a bird, but I have no idea what kind of bird. I mean, here's the beak, and there's the breast, and I think this is flowers or something down here, but I have no idea. The pictures are not the clearest, but it is kind of fun and relaxing to do. So I'm really glad that I finally finished this one. It looks like a little piece of gouache came off somewhere. Hopefully it's stained yellow enough. Yeah, I don't know how many times I'll pull that one out, but it was fun for a thing, This one is another whip. It's not a long-lasting whip, and it is the end of the Halloween season, and I wanted to, this is the book that I'm using just to like try things out and play around. So I've done, this one was chalk pastel background, and these two were the oil pastels. And this one I did with based everything with Inktense. And then I didn't like the monotone color of it. It did have flowers and stuff, and I wanted to turn it into like a Halloween kind of thing. There's things I would do differently on here, but I'm not going to get upset about it. I did use gouache on the trees, and they're looking a little bit better to me than I did last night. And I put in some like stars up there for the sky. This was, all the pumpkins are also gouache, and then I used a Toolyart paint pen to do the faces on the pumpkins, and just made this like a nighttime Halloween kind of thing. I could see everybody having a party or something. I do have plans to do other alterations on pages in this book. I don't plan to do anything straight the way it is, except for ones that I've already finished, which, like I said, this one here, I did this one in 2023. And then these guys I've done in 2024, and I had another one that I did back here also in 2023. This was all Neocolor 2s in the background. So still a little bit of playing around and learning things and trying things out. Some of the Inktense did go through the paper a little bit, which I've had problems with in other of the Joanna Basford books. And then, I guess there is some watercolor of the Boko Undo, like dark colors on the roofs to give them like that sort of nighttime color thing. And I did color pencil over the top of it to sort of smooth some things out. And I like that, how much dimension it has. And I just wish I had done a little better on the trees, but yeah, I think it's all right. It was fun. Just color the whole thing one color and then add shading to it. And then, I did the windows instead of being them one color. I colored around the windows, but I could have just used paint pen over the top, because that's what I did in a number of places where it got a little muddy in the windows. Yeah, it's all right. And then the last thing that I'll just show is where I had a problem and I got rid of a product. So I just had some cheap colored pencils, and I combined them with some of my good stuff. And so there's Inktense on here, and there's various colored pencils just to get the color that I wanted. And when I didn't want this to like bleed, especially the glitter on the halo. I didn't want it to get onto the neighboring page. And so when I sprayed it, the colored pencil came through where I used the cheap colored pencils. So on her hair. And so this whole page was just a shadow. You can still see there's some places down here, a shadow of the cheap colored pencils. It's like her hand and stuff. The colors were good, but the quality was not. And so I'm doing this one in gouache. And so this is a whip still, but I'll work on it slowly. And I needed something that was opaque to cover this up really well. And I'll learn about using gouache along the way. And I do love this page. This one is about celebrating life and death. Yeah, this is Danse Macabre. Popular in the late Middle Ages, imagery depicting the dance of death is an allegory for the universality of death. It is a memento mori, reminding us the fragility of life. And so I have the trees changing colors, spring, summer, fall, and then late fall, I guess. There's no winter one. And I plan on doing this one as a daytime dancer and a nighttime dancer. And I don't know what else I'll do with the skeletons. I obviously need to like fill their bones back in a little bit. But it's fun. This is such a fun book. There's so much folklore in here. It's such a fun book. So that is everything that I have done for like the fall. I think there were only like 2 pumpkins in there. I had a whole bunch of pumpkin stuff picked out, and I just kind of got tired of pumpkins. So let me know what you think. What was your favorite? I think my favorite is the kitty drinking the beer, honestly. I couldn't wait to do that one, but yeah, probably the kitty drinking the beer or the fairy sleeping in the Marie Trolley book. Anyway, thanks for watching and happy coloring.